Okay, obviously a lot of your work is in Air and Abbey Road, and did you have much involvement with the way your kits were mic'd up there, or do you leave that really to the engineer?
I leave that to the engineer, but sometimes we do talk about stuff. But most of the times they know what they want and they just go for it, and then we have a little chat, and if something isn't working, maybe we swap things out occasionally, but in general they do what they want and I leave them to it, and they're really amazing engineers.
I mean, you've worked with these guys for years anyway,
I
so
have.
I guess it's an understanding that's built up.
It is, and also if they want something, I try and give it to them. If they say, look, the snare's a bit ringy, I try and change it. If they say I need a little bit more bottom end on the bass drum, maybe give it a bit more ring, or increase or reduce the dampening. I do things like that. Retune drums, could be anything, you know. They might say, look, those are just like the overheads are a bit loud, can you just chill out with the crashes? Sometimes they ask lots of things like that, and I just try and give it to them. So try and work with the engineers.
Okay, I mean, this features the 21st century drummer.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know, business has changed.
It has.
So how long have you had this studio, and why did you build this
Well,
studio?
I built this studio when I moved to this house, which was 17 years ago, and back then I didn't really see it turning into a real proper studio, but it kind of has done. I had it designed properly, but I didn't know what was going to happen with it, and it just so happened that the way session work has gone, a lot more stuff is done at home now. So it wasn't a deliberate career move, it was kind of accidental really, and so I did have friends who had home studios, but since then a lot of people have started to get it together. So it's been a useful asset, if somewhat expensive, but it's really good, and it's a great place for me to play, do recording sessions, produce, write, all sorts of things. You know, it's a music space for me.
So give me the scenario of how it works for you now as a session musician. Do people send you files? How does it work?
Well, in general, I would say that I am still going to other studios more than I am here, but this is happening more and more now because budgets are squeezed and people have to find ways of doing it. So when I'm working at home, I've got about a 50% mix of people actually like to come here. So producers will ring me up and say, can I come over? Let's do some drums, and that happens. And then the other thing is, people who are a long way away, or they don't have the time, or they don't want to, will just send me files, and what I tend to ask for is a track with the drums, demo drums in, the guide drums, then a track without the guide drums, and the tempo, and then I generate the click myself, and then what I do is I just write out a piece of music and play it, and that's it. I can probably, you know, I've got a whole stack of things up here that are like, you know, these sort of parts. Here's one that I did for Tony O'Malley. There we are. Beautiful soul singer. Can you play a tune for me? Yeah. How's it go? That's about the only music on the chart. The rest of it is just a little chart there. I'll just play it. Let's play it down. Do a few takes.
Okay, so do they send you files? If you're working with someone from a long way away, do they send you a file?
Yeah.
And how to, you know, and the other important aspect about every working musician is, how do you get paid for that? Do you negotiate before you start?
We always, I mean, before anything happens, money's always talked, because everything has to fit within a budget. It's extremely important. So people, you know, quite often say, oh, how much would it be for this? And I say this. And it depends, because someone might want me to come in and quickly throw down a track, or they might want, someone approached me 2 days ago and said, look, I've got 6 tracks for an album. It's going to be there'll be a lot to do. I'll probably get an engineer in. So that's when I get an engineer in, and I quote for that as well. So it just so happens that I've got an in-house built-in engineer,
which
Lester.
is your son, Lester.
He's my son.
Who's just been working on
The Voice.
The Voice.
He has indeed.
Okay, and obviously because he's your son,
Yeah.
he's very, very cheap.
He's very cheap.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, because you just let him sleep here.
Exactly.
To feed
So
him.
it's good. He's very, very cheap, and he's real good. So he does it. But also we have some other guys here, and also when Lester was learning, we have some other fantastic engineers who come and work here. There's an amazing guy called Steve Cooper, who's an absolute genius. He's done lots and lots of different things. And then we have other people like my friend Hayden Bendel, who is a legend, and he often comes here too.